The Orks. The Orks are the most belligerent and resourceful race in the galaxy. Rampaging across the void in their billions, the greenskins devastate everything in their path with their ramshackle weapons and war machines, taking brutish glee in wanton destruction and reveling in warfare for its own sake. Orks live to fight. No matter the odds, no matter the foe, they hurl themselves into battle with shooters roaring and choppers swinging. Their ramshackle war machines rumble across the battlefield, filling the air with hails of shells and corkscrewing rockets, while artillery pieces of insane and illogical design crush enemy tanks like ration tins, or snatch aircraft from above with beams of crackling light. The Orks fill the skies with waves of thundering attack craft that rain explosives and firebombs, while, at the very heart of the battle, their monstrous leaders tear their enemies limb from limb. To face the Orks in battle is to stand against a tidal wave of barbarous ferocity that is as unstoppable as it is terrifying. Though they appear crude, possibly even stupid, to the more advanced races of the galaxy, the greenskins are nonetheless a deadly threat thanks to their unremitting savagery and phenomenal resilience. In large numbers, and Orks rarely attack in anything but, they are all but fearless. Massed into charging mobs, the greenskins' momentum carries them through even the fiercest firestorms, and into the heart of the enemy's ranks. If Orks give any thought to their own mortality, it is only in the vaguest terms, and so they take risks and attempt gambits that other races would consider tantamount to suicide. This in itself makes the greenskins as unpredictable as they are dangerous, and has seen countless disciplined armies overrun by Orks who charged straight through supposedly untraversable minefields, surged from the toxic depths of chem swamps to attack an undefended flank, or crash-landed their spacecraft straight into the middle of their foes, with no thought whatsoever for casualties. The Orks infest the galaxy from end to end. Their society and ecology is so robust that it can survive almost anywhere, from carnivorous jungles and airless asteroids to volcanic hellscapes and radiation-drenched death worlds. No matter how inimical the conditions, Orks don't just survive. They prosper in their own bloody-minded fashion. Though an Ork tribe might begin with just a few dozen of the creatures, their numbers increase exponentially, and soon enough the greenskin's strange ecosystem overwhelms the local flora and fauna to provide them with ideal living conditions. No scientist or scholar of any galactic race has ever been able to adequately explain how Orks proliferate so swiftly, though theories abound from spores and cellular subdivision to the notion of great green deities vomiting their numberless progeny across the galaxy with wild abandon. Their origins are far from the only mystery surrounding the Orks. Amongst their society exist specialists known collectively as oddboys, who appear to spontaneously develop the knowledge required to transform their tribes from barbarous rabble into conquering hordes. Mech boys, for example, are able to gather whatever scrap and metal and junk that they can find, fashioning it into spectacular weapons and war machines that, while neither safe nor reliable, are horrifically lethal. Pain boys, meanwhile, know precisely how the Ork anatomy functions and will merrily root around inside the most hideously maimed warriors, sawing, stapling, and riveting away until their unfortunate patient is as good as new. Such skill and wisdom is entirely instinctive to the oddboys. The Orks themselves neither know nor care where it comes from, simply attributing such inexplicable gifts to their thuggish gods. Gork, and Mork. The strangest aspects of the Orks is the phenomenon known as the Warg. This word has several equally important meanings within Ork culture. First off, it is the favoured war cry of greenskins the galaxy over, usually bellowed with spittle-spraying gusto whilst burying several feet of rusty metal into some unfortunate's skull. Beyond this, the Warg is both the gestalt of the Orkoid race that the Weird Boys channel and vomit into the foe, and the name for their immense armies of interstellar conquest. An Ork Warg is part migration, part holy war. The Orks gathering in their millions and building titanic mobile effigies before taking to their lumbering warships and setting off into space in search of battle. The mightiest Ork warlord in the galaxy is Ghazghkull Mac Ulruk Thraka, the beast of Armageddon, and prophet of the Ork gods Mork and Gork. While it is the galaxy's great misfortune to play host to Ork warlords beyond counting, Ghazghkull is quite possibly the biggest, meanest, most violent, and crucially, the most visionary of them all. For many years, Ghazghkull obsessed over the stalwart imperial world of Armageddon. This planet, with its towering hive cities, sweeping jungles, and vast dusty plains, was one of the Imperium's greatest industrial powerhouses before the onset of Warg Ghazghkull. It became a never-ending cauldron of war and devastation, embroiled in carnage and destruction on a apocalyptic scale. This was Ghazghkull's doing, yet it was not grand enough for him. Since suffering a crippling head injury many years before, Ghazghkull had borne witness to agonizing visions that he claimed were sent by Gork and Mork, and on Armageddon he endured his worst premonition yet. Spurned on by it, Ghazghkull left the planet and declared a great warg. The warlord vowed to trample a warpath so grand and spectacular across the galaxy that the Ork gods themselves would be able to tear their way into reality and join the carnage. In the name of this crusade, Ghazghkull has razed dozens of planets and subjugated hundreds of Ork tribes, forging an ever larger warg. Now, he leads the horde that blackens the stars, a ramshackle armada so vast that it can blanket entire star systems in devastation, with but a part of its unbelievable might. Still, it is not enough, for Ghazghkull will not rest until he fights alongside the green-skin gods themselves. To the untrained eye, an Ork Warg resembles an endless ocean of green muscle, rusted metal, and crudely coloured glyphs and banners. Ork military formations, such as they are sprawling and anarchic, bleeding into one another as the greenskins surge forward in massed mobs. Boys, battle wagon crews, colossal stompers, and the begoggled Ork flyboys all race towards the enemy as fast as they can, jostling, trampling, barging, and ramming with all the discipline of a stampede of rabid groks. Yet, amidst the mayhem there is order, crude and resilient military structures that Orks comprehend on an instinctive level. First and foremost, every greenskin from the biggest and most muscle-bound Ork to the scrawniest grot slave belongs to a tribe. This is the closest analogue that Imperial strategists have been able to draw to any kind of formal Ork regiment, though the composition and sizes of Ork tribes varies wildly. Most tribes will be led by a war boss. Inevitably, this will be the biggest, loudest, meanest greenskin of the lot, a scar-covered brute who has bullied and bludgeoned his way to the top of the heap. War bosses get the best loot, the best fights, and the biggest guns, choppers, and suits of armour, while every other Ork in the tribe does what they say without question. Orks do not see such tyranny as a bad thing to them. It is simply the natural order of things. Occasionally, a tribe may be led by a big mech or a pain boss, an odd boy who has gotten so big and powerful that they either have taken command of the tribe by force, or else have been kicked out by their war boss as a potential threat, and have so started up a tribe of their own. Directly below the leader of the tribes are the boss knobs. Huge brutes, second only to the warboss in size and ferocity. These tusk-mawed killers keep the boys in line and brawl mercilessly to prove who's the best. If there was ever a challenge to the warboss, it will likely come from within his knobs, as the largest and meanest among them take a swing at claiming ultimate power. The warboss's odd boys also exist within this social strata, making their unique skills available to their master for exchange for his favour, or, at least, not being beaten to a pulp. The rest of the tribe is made up of orc mobs. Many of these fight on foot, gathering in great numbers beneath the boss pole of one knob or another, and following them howling into battle. Other orcs hurtle to war in smoke-belching trucks, buggies and battle wagons, or sitting astride snarling warbikes. Others still build huge, preposterous guns from which to shred their victims from a distance, or else charge madly from the fight, spewing fire from dubious-looking flamethrowers. Squadrons of hurtling aircraft, convoys of looted tanks, clanking, sore-fisted walkers and batteries of bizarre field artillery. All of these mobs and many more can be found within most orc tribes, to one degree or another. Entirely separate to the crude strata of orc tribes are the 6 clans. In some ways, the clans are closer to spiritual groupings, while in others they resemble distinct nationalities or philosophies within orc society. Of course, the orcs themselves see things far more simply. Every orc belongs to a clan, which means he prefers certain colours, has particular likes and dislikes, and is 100% certain that his clan is the best and most important of the lot. Within a single tribe there may well be mobs of orcs from several different clans, all fighting together despite their sometimes violent rivalries. Such diversity actually benefits the orc tribes immensely, for each clan's orc tends towards certain violent proclivities and specialisms that complement each other upon the field of battle. Orcs, however, are not the only greenskins. Smaller and scrawnier than their masters, grots form the natural underclass of orc society. In truth, grots are substantially cleverer and more sneaky than orcs, and it is only this natural cunning that enables the luckless creatures to survive. Orcs treat grots as their slaves, when not herding them into battle to soak up enemy fire or clean minefields the hard way. Orcs rely on grots to do all the menial tasks, from crewing field guns and carrying ammo, to crawling into the mechanical guts of stalled war machines and smacking them with wrenches until they start working again. Constantly kicked, beaten, and thrust into harm's way, or just plain eaten by their larger cousins, the grots endure countless indignities in their short and brutal lives. For all this, grots accept their lot largely without question, venting their spite among one another, the enemy, or whatever luckless captives the orcs take in battle.